burden to bear. So we need to lay it down. It is better to love. So all of you working together, we can turn our nation around and create a beloved community where no one is left out or left behind.
That's right.
Because of the color of the skin. And it doesn't matter whether we're black or white, Latino, Asian American, or Native American, whether we are straight or gay, we are one people, we are one family. We all live in the same house, not just the American house, but the world house. And we must look out for each other.
John Lewis in 2016, and Lewis repeatedly put his life on the line to achieve exactly what he said there, to achieve racial equality and equality for all. And as the outpouring of love and sympathy since his death has proved, his reach extended well beyond the African American community. Joining us right now, representatives from the Tri-Caucus, Robin Kelly of Illinois, a member of the Congressional Black Caucus, Adriano Espaillat of New York, Congressional Hispanic Caucus Whip, Al Green of Texas, member of both the Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus and Congressional Black Caucus, all on one screen. So it is good to see all of you together. You represent exactly what Congressman Lewis was fighting for. And I know all three of you have been fighting alongside with him. And I wanted to start with you, Representative Kelly. As you think of Congressman Lewis, and now that he is gone, who steps in the halls of Congress that represents that same energy?
We all have a part to play. All of us have worked with him on one thing or another, if not two things. We work very closely on gun violence prevention, and I will certainly continue to carry the bill to cut down on how many people lose their lives every year to gun violence in his honor.
You know, Representative Espaillat here, one of the things that all of you understand so well is he had this ability to say things that no other representative could say and get the same response and get the same sort of respect. And that quality is so important. When you think of the times that you spent with him, how important is that quality today for other representatives like yourself?
It's critical. It's just critical to have a voice like his in America. You know, he was one that we called on to speak when we had very controversial issues in the floor of the Congress. He was the voice. He wasn't just the conscience of Congress or the soul of America. He was a force of man. You know, and I've been sad since he passed. He's irreplaceable, but we must continue to carry his legacy forward.
Representative Green, what was it about John Lewis that was able to bring all sorts of different people together? And in the way he spoke in that piece of sound that we played just before we went to the three of you, I could see all three of you just being taken back to certain moments that you remembered, I could tell, being with John Lewis. What is it that brought everybody together with John?
Well, he took to heart the words of Gandhi, to be the change you seek. He was the sermon he preached. He walked his talk when he concluded that the Edmund Pettus Bridge should be crossed. He inspired others to come along, but he was there leading the charge himself. And it's good to note what happened that day, because they marched into brutality, but they would not turn back. And because the world saw the brutality, they saw what invidious discrimination was doing, President Johnson was able to pass the Voting Rights Act. And I do believe, Mr. Lew, that it would be a fitting tribute to him for us to now pass the Voting Rights Act, to reform it and pass it, because he was there when Bloody Sunday took place to cause it the initial passage. And this would now be a means by which the world would know that we still value voting rights in this country. And also it would be a great tribute to him and his legacy.
Representative Kelly, Representative Lewis, when he was young, he wrote a letter to his older self. And in it, I'll read part of what he said. It doesn't matter whether we're white or black, Latino, Asian American, or Native American. that maybe our foremothers and forefathers all come here in different ships, but we're all in the same boat now. Boy, did he listen to that letter.
Oh, I love hearing you read that. He is absolutely right. We are all in this together. We will sink or swim together. We're only as strong as our weakest link. I mean, I can go on and on and on, but he was a smart young man then because he was speaking the truth.
He said what he was going to do, Representative Espaillat, and then he did what he said he was going to do. And that you don't see a lot of folks out there today, and I think that's one of the qualities that parents like to tell their children, right? Whatever you say, you better do it, right? Or try to do it within yourself. And one of the things that he was is he certainly was a brother in arms with the Latino American, Hispanic American community. And what's one of the stories that you can remember that really stood out when you were working alongside with him for the Latino American community?
Well, just about 2 years ago, we marched in front of Homeland Security when there was the separation of families and children going on. And he marched with us, and it was a hot, sunny day in Washington, extremely hot. And some of the younger guys, a couple of them fainted. And here was this man just walking forward, and he sat with us in the steps of Homeland Security to protest the separation of children put in cages at the border. He was really universal. He wasn't just from Georgia. He's not an American. He belongs to the world. And so he reached out to everybody and had a big tent approach to how he handled things on a daily basis. And I think that's something that should be taught, actually, in the school rooms across America.
Yeah, you know, and taking that idea over to you, Representative Green, I remember when I had the opportunity to listen to Representative Lewis and meet him, he was speaking to 1,000 Asian American journalists. And the thing that stood out here, and Representative Green, since you're a member of the Asian American Caucus, you can appreciate that, but he inspired so many to think about what it meant to report on human rights in so many different ways, right? That it didn't just fit one flavor. For you, Representative Green, how did he show that to you when you worked with him to look at the idea of human rights and civil rights in different flavors?
Well, you're eminently correct. He spoke for and stood for justice for all. We were protesting out in front of the Capitol, a sit-in, if you will, and it was for immigration. It was for the rights of immigrants, persons that he would never meet and greet, but he wanted them to be treated fairly in this country. And as a result, he went to jail, and he got me into what I call his good trouble. I was a follower, he was a leader. He went to the Sudanese embassy where we were arrested for the atrocities that were being committed in Darfur. He spoke up on behalf of people who were suffering injustices, not only within the country, but without the country. And if I may just say this, I'm so proud to have this autographed copy of his book. And in it, he says that we should keep the faith. If we maintain the faith, if we understand that we can make real the great and noble American ideals that he fought so hard to maintain and to advance, I do believe that we can, as he would say it, and Dr. King said it, we can overcome. We can make a difference.
Well, it's a tribute that all three of you here, members from all three of the major ethnic caucuses, Latino American, African American, and Asian American. Thank you so much. This is certainly in the spirit of John Lewis and what he tried to do in Congress and around the country. Representatives Kelly, Espaillat, and Green, thank you.